What's up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast, and it seems like the countdown has begun for a CBDC because as we get to the inevitable, we start to see the way things are tending. And there's going to be more and more talk about a CBDC. And you just got to see whether you're prepared for that time. At first, it's going to seem like a good thing. And all things happen very slowly where you barely notice the shift. And when it does happen, you have to be aware. Be aware that this can get very dark very fast because it's basically programmable money and it's directly linked to the Fed. And I think that's super important. So I'm going to let Powell, good old buddy Jerome, tell you more about the CBDC.
To ensure users' privacy. So we're researching technological and policy options for a robust privacy framework. At the same time, a CBDC would need to be identity verifiable in order to prevent money laundering, terrorist financing, and other illicit activity, just as banks and other financial institutions currently comply with such rules. We also foresee a CBDC in the United States being intermediated so that it can leverage the private sector's ability to innovate as well as the private sector's existing privacy, identity management, and AML frameworks. An intermediated CBDC would also lessen financial stability risks that could arise from disintermediation of private sector providers, where financial services also provided by the government. Fourth and finally, a CBDC would need to be able to serve as a widely accessible means of payment for all transactions, meaning it would need to be seamlessly transferable and between customers of different intermediaries. In any case, digital innovation in the financial sector is here to stay, and we are clearly only at the beginning of this journey. Thanks.
We are clearly only at the beginning of this journey. So strap up your seatbelts because this is going to be a long ride. And believe me, they're going to implement this and they're going to force it. Whether you realize it or not, it'll be forced, but they'll make you acquiesce to it. And they'll slowly creep up on you and your freedoms will be stripped away. But if you're watching this right now, you're aware of it. So when you receive it, you do something with that money, right? Because if it's inevitable, you can prepare ahead of time and still utilize that to purchase other things that will prove useful. So you have to stay ahead of the game, 10 steps ahead. And eventually, there's going to be a carbon footprint. Recently, the SEC actually is going to start a new department to track carbon credits. So that's going to be a whole new world that's coming. And I did a video on this a while ago on the Doconomy credit card. Check this out.
MasterCard and the United Nations are joining forces to monitor the carbon effect of your credit card purchases. And then you'll hit your carbon max and it'll stop working. Hey, of course it's voluntary for now. The new credit card is called Doconomy. And on the back of the card, it's going to say, I am taking it is the largest initiative ever taken by a bank in educating its users on the impact of consumption. They say themselves they want to set a global standard for carbon calculations. That's the key. Once they have their numbers in place, then they can give every single purchase you make a score and punish you directly. This is what China does. And of course, this will only be enforced on you and me and any businesses that don't go along with their scheme. And banks are going to enforce it.
And there you have it. They will. It's just a matter of time. And all these crises, right, are setting the stage for something like that to enter. Because during a crisis is when they're when they enact a lot of things, because you don't let a good crisis go to waste. That together Russia and Belarus control 40% of the world's potash supply. That's for fertilizer, right? In 2021, the U.S. imported about 93% of the potash needs. Jeez. Canada provides 83% of the potash used in the U.S., and Russia and Belarus provide 12%. You take away that 12%, and that equals a big increase in the price of potash, which goes as one of the ingredients in fertilizer. So, folks, think about this. Things will get ugly before they get better. So, if you're watching this, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel. This is the Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.